Xstore is a premium WooCommerce theme built to simplify creating professional online stores. It combines ready-made demos, Elementor integration, and powerful built-in tools like custom builders, sales boosters, and performance optimizations, giving you everything you need to launch and grow your e-commerce site without relying on dozens of extra plugins. In this tutorial, we'll be doing a comprehensive Xstore guide, starting with theme installation, setting up WooCommerce, editing pages with Elementor, all the way to exploring Xstore's powerful built-in features that make your e-commerce store professional, fast, and conversion ready. Whether you're just launching your first online shop or refining an existing one, this guide will show you how to take full advantage of Xstore's tools, from global theme options and builders to sales boosters, email customization, mega menus, and more. By the end, you'll have a fully functional, polished store that's ready to go live. So let's dive in and build your store step by step. Alright, so before we go into the theme setup, if you would want to get an affordable domain and hosting, then you should try Hostinger. It is one of the most affordable web hosting provider, and with a yearly plan, you'll get a free domain as well. We have a 10% discount Hostinger coupon code in the description below, so make sure to check that out if you are interested in using it. So now moving on, now that you have your hosting, the next thing that you want to do is to make sure that you have WordPress integrated into your website. And then you want to make sure also that you have the Xstore theme purchased. So if you haven't done that yet, you can use our affiliate link in the description below so that you can get into the theme easily. You can purchase from there. And if you use that link, you can get the best deal or price possible. Also, if you use that link, you'll be able to support our channel. So feel free to use the link in the description if you want to use it. Now that we have everything that we need to get started on the theme setup, we can now proceed by going here into our 8 theme account, because this is where we have purchased our Xstore theme. And now you can scroll down and basically you want to navigate here in my downloads. And in here, you can click here on more files. And this is where you can see all the files that is available here on your 8 theme account. And what we need is this one, Xstore Installable Archive. And this is a theme. As you can see right here, you can click here on the download button. And now you'll be able to download it like this. As you can see, the file name is xstore.zip. You can click here on download. All right, now that it's downloaded, we can now go into WordPress. And in here, you just simply want to navigate here on the left menu to start installing the theme. You want to go here into Appearance, and then you want to go into Themes. Here, you can click on the Add Theme button, depending on which either of these buttons in here. I'm going to click here. And then you want to click here on Upload Theme on the top left. And in here, you can click on Choose File. So you can click on that and simply locate the downloaded file. So now here it is. I have now located it in my device. So that would depend on where you have saved the file that you have downloaded. So now I'm going to select that and click here on Open. And there it is. It is now selected. Now you just need to click here on Install Now, and it's now going to start installing the theme from this file. You just basically also want to make sure that you have selected the installable archive in here if you use this method. And as you can see, it's currently unpacking the package, so we just need to wait for it for a bit. And now, once it says theme installed successfully in here, you can now click here on the Activate button. After that, you will now be prompted into the setup wizard for the Xstore. So you can just click here on Let's Go and just simply finish setting this all up. So I'm just going to select English for this, continue. Next, you can put in your site title and tagline in here. So this is where you learn automation. And save and continue to proceed to the next step. And in here, we have the theme license. So you would need to input the license code in here in order for you to finally activate your theme here in Xstore. So if you have purchased the theme, then you would be able to find that here on 8 theme if you have used the link in purchasing the theme. So in here, you just need to go back in here into account. And now you'd be able to see that we have the purchase code in here. So this is what we need. So we just need to highlight this, and then we would need to right click and copy. And after that, go back into the theme license right here and just simply paste it right here. Right click and then paste. And then from here, you will now be able to activate that. But first, you need to confirm this to acknowledge the terms and service right there. And you also have the option for a development domain if needed. So I'm going to leave that unchecked because this is not a development domain. And from here, you can now click here on activate theme. Once it's all good, you'll be able to see this message. As you can see, theme successfully activated. Now you can click here on next to complete the setup of your store or theme. And here, child theme name. So we can go for a different name, but I'm just gonna leave it as it is, Xstore child. And the parent theme template right here is Xstore. So basically, this child theme is a secondary theme that inherits all the functionality and design of the main Xstore theme, but allows you to make custom changes safely without affecting the original theme. This is the recommended way to customize Xstore because updates to the parent theme won't overwrite your edits. So now I'm going to click here on install child theme. And now as you can see in here, it says that the child theme has now been successfully installed. We can now click here on next. And in here, you can now choose from 150 plus pre-built websites. So basically, these are your templates. You can think of this as starter templates that you can import to instantly get a full layout like homepage, shop, product pages, blog, and many more, depending on the kind of template that you would want to use. So we have a bunch in here, so you can scroll all the way down and there's a ton of templates in here and all of them are looking pretty good. It just depends on your preference or taste or maybe the kind of product that you are selling. So there is a template here that would be appropriate for you. But for my case, I'll just go here at the top. This one seems good to me. It's professional, slick, clean looking. And if you just want to test out the look first, is that you can click here on view demo. And in here, you'd be able to go into their website, just like this one right here, or basically a live preview of the template that you're choosing. So this is what it would look like. And if this is good for you, then you can just simply go back. And now you can click here on import if you would want to use this. And in here, you can go for the preferred page builder. You can go for Elementor, Gutenberg, or WP Bakery. If you don't know which one to choose, let me give you a quick breakdown. So Elementor is basically the most popular among the three right now. This is a drag and drop and very visual editor, beginner friendly, huge community, and there's also lots of tutorials regarding this page builder. And we have Gutenberg, which is basically built into WordPress by default. It's lightweight, fast, fewer plugins needed, and this is best if you just want simplicity and performance, but less design freedom. And then we have the WP Bakery or WordPress Bakery. This is older page builder, but it's still supported. More traditional interface, but not as intuitive as Elementor. This is best if you're used to WP Bakery already or working with older templates. So as for this one, I'm just going to go for Elementor because this is the most beginner friendly and basically the updated version. I'm going to click here on continue. And now you can go for the plugin installation and activation. And this demo requires some plugins to be installed. So just simply install all of them. So you can click here on install and activate all plugins. And as you can see, it is now getting installed one by one. So you just need to wait for that to finish installing. All right, everything is now installed. You can now click here on continue. And from here, you have the content configuration, so you can pick the content elements that you would want to be imported into the template. So we have full demo or specific sections. So in here, you can select the full demo site content if you don't want to include everything, but if you just want some specific blocks or parts in here, then you can just select them individually. But as for me, I just want them all to be included. And now you can click here on install demo data. And in here, we just have to wait as it is building the site. The site is now ready. You can now click here and view your new site. or start customizing. Since we don't have our details imported into the site yet, we would need to customize it first. So I'm going to click here on start customizing. All right, after that, you will now be prompted in here into the Xstore control panel. And in here, you'd be able to see that we have these options in here. You can also see it here on the left menu. As you can see, we have a bunch of Xstore menus here that we could use to control our Xstore theme, like the theme options, Xstore builder, and so on. But most of them are right here on the control panel, which is this one right here. You want to click on that so you can see this, and so on. So before we do this is that we're just gonna go and complete the designing process first in Elementor and apply our brand details into the theme. And before we do that is that we would need to make sure first that we have the necessary plugins. So you can click here on plugins, or you can also go here into Xstore and you have your plugins installer in here. But I'm just gonna go here into plugins first. And just to check that I have the necessary plugins in here, make sure that you have the Xstore core activated, as you can see right here. And then we have the Pro elements, which is necessary for Elementor. And then Elementor itself right here, and then MailChimp and more. And then next is that we need WooCommerce integration in here since we are setting up a shop. So I would need to go here into Xstore and then basically just go into the plugins installer, which is this one. And then in here, we should see the plugins that we can install here into our Xstore theme. So there's still a lot that you can do right here. You can install other plugins if needed, so you can explore each one of them to see what you need. But for now, we'll just be sticking with WooCommerce. This is absolutely necessary if you're building a shop. So now it's currently installing, so just wait for that. And now as you can see, it says the plugin has now been successfully installed. So now you can click here on OK. And just to double check, I'm going to go here into plugin. And then we should now see WooCommerce installed into our site and should be listed here under plugins, as you can see right here. And it's currently activated. All right, now we have all of our core plugins in here. Now we can proceed into adding our brand details into our theme that we have installed. So I just need to go here into pages. This is how I like to do it. Another method that you can do is to go here into Elementor and then you can click here and edit site, and then you can edit from there if you want to do it that way. But I prefer going here into the pages and edit each page right here so that it will be more organized. And basically in here, you'd be able to see that we can edit with Elementor when you click here, edit with Elementor. So you just choose the page that you would want to edit. So as for me, I'm just going to go with the home page right here. So this is the front page, as you can see right here. And now you can click here on edit with Elementor. And now once it's loaded, you will now be prompted in here, as you can see. And we can now do our edits in here, like the text and many more. So the first thing that we'll be editing would be the logo in here, which is the header at the top. I'm going to click on that. And then we will have the options here on the left side, as you can see right here. When you click here on the logo section, we can now change the site logo in here. You can click on change site logo. And then you can now choose the site logo in here. You can click here on choose image. And now you want to click here on insert media if you want to upload from your device storage, or insert from URL if you want to upload from a URL. I'm just going to go for insert media and go here into upload files and click here on select files and select the logo. In my case, it's this one. I'm going to click on that, click on open, and we should now have it right here. And now we have our logo in here. And you could also go for your alt text here, by the way, the title, caption, description. But I don't really need this. I'm just going to skip that. I just need the logo. Click here and select. And there it is. And now we have uploaded it, and we have this notice in here that we can optimize our images to enhance site performance by using the image optimizer. You can install that into your site. So I also recommend that, and I find it really effective. So now I'm going to click here on install now. And now in here is that we have the image optimizer. We can click here on activate plugin. And then that's it. We now have it also in our plugin list right here. So now going back, it should now be all good. And now we have this side favorite icon. So basically what this would do is that, let me show you just by clicking here on choose image and choosing the logo once again. Click here on select. So I'm just gonna go and disable the full screen first, and basically the favorite icon would be right here that you're seeing on the tab at the top, as you can see right there. And it's currently like this logo. It is still not applied, so we need to click here on save changes first. All right, so now here is the result. As you can see, the logo is now changed here in the header, and we have our fav icon here at the left side, which is the left side icon here when you open up a tab in your browser. So that's the fav icon in here. And yeah, so now next is basically this is only showing up when you're viewing the site in live view. So you can do that by clicking here on the drop down icon here on a view page, so that you'd be able to go into live view in the site, and when you actually publish the site, you'd be able to see the fav icon, but it doesn't appear here in the editor. And now what I will want to do next is that I would want to make the logo smaller. I think it's too big, it's too tall, and there's a lot of space that is wasted here at the top and bottom. Also, when I go here into tablet portrait, as you can see, it consumes a lot of space, so I don't really like that. So yeah, I would want to make this smaller. And to make this smaller, if you also want to, is that you would want to adjust the size of the image itself or the logo itself. So in here, this is 500 by 500 pixels. So I can click here on this logo, and now I can click here and change site logo. And now is that we have this. So the suggested image dimension is 350 by 100 pixels. So this is only a suggestion. It's not that strict. You can adjust it accordingly depending on the size, the height, or width that you would want. So in my case, I'll just click here on choose image, and I have already uploaded one, which is this one right here. This is 350 by 100 pixels. This is what I want. I'm going to click here on select. And now I'm just going to click here and save changes. And now from here, I'm going to click here on back to editor to see the changes. And here it is. As you can see, our logo now looks much smaller, and I think this looks better. It's not so big that it is consuming a lot of space. So I really like it. And now we're going to proceed to the next one. So basically, I would also want to demonstrate how you would be able to edit the header in here. So you can click here on header, and then it will load for a while. So just wait for that. And then once it's loaded, is that you will be able to also modify the settings here on the menu, this menu in here, which is your main menu. And now let's say I'm going to go click here in home. In here, you would have the edit navigation menu. So here under content is that you have some basic layout settings. You have alignment, menu, hover effect, which is native to the Elementor, not to the Xstore theme. So Xstore theme has its own unique hover effect or special effects that you can add, which I will be showing you later on. And you have the drop down indicator right here, the icon. So this is the icon library. You can upload your own SVG, active icons, and many more. So that's it. And we have the drop down right here. You have the drop down animation, alignment, drop down indicator. If you want to use that, then you could also do it right here. But I don't have any drop down in this website, so I'm not going to use that. And I'm going to go into style. And now here in style is where you'd be able to have other settings, such as when I click here on the header, I have the menu items in here. I can edit some settings like the space between items. So when I go and increase that, as you can see, there is now space increased. So I actually would want to edit this. So I would want to fill in this gap. So how I want to do this is basically, I just need to make the boxes or the space consumed by the logo smaller, since this is only the space or the amount that the logo is consuming. So I'm just going to go and make it smaller so that the other items can fill up those space. And in here, I'm going to expand this because I will be expanding the space later on. So right there. So I'm just going to go and put the button here on the rightmost side. And now in here is that I'm gonna go back in here into style and space between items. I'm gonna go and increase that so that it would now fill in all those gaps. Just like that. So I'm just gonna go to the utmost value right there. I think that's enough. All right, that's it. So I think I'm good with that. So next is that we will now be moving on into the typography. So in here, I'm just gonna stick into normal. And then we have the text color. So you can change the text color. I'm just gonna make it normal again, which is black by default, and then background color if you'd want. The border type is you can go for solid. As you can see, there's no border, but I don't want that because that looks ugly. And the padding in here, you could also increase that, like the top right here. As you can see, there's no padding there. The item is actually moving now, so I'm just gonna go and bring it back right there. That's good. Maybe 13 is good. And border radius, and then you have some drop down items in here, so you can change the typography, text color, and if you have a drop down menu, then you could also edit it right here with a background color, border type, and everything. So that's style. Next, we'll be going into advanced. So in here is that we have the Xstore effect. So for this one, this would let you add special hover or animation effects unique to Xstore theme. So this is what I've been talking about earlier, that Xstore has a unique effect that would let you have some hover effect that we did earlier in the content section. So now I have enabled this, so now I will be able to customize this effect. So in here we have the parallax mode on mobile. We'll be testing that later on the mobile view, but for now we'll be going on to the type. So in here we have the effect. So we have the 3D hover effect right here. So we can click on that and activate it. And now when we hover our cursor here in our menu, as you can see, there is now a 3D effect going on that looks really cool. So if you'd want that, you can just easily enable it right here using the Xstore theme. And then you could modify the smoothness right here on how smooth the animation is gonna look. So right here, there it is. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna go back to the default value, and then the scale, the speed, perspective, and disable axis, glare effect. You can enable this if you'd want. So let's see, let's enable it, and let's look at the effect on what it actually does. And there's some glare there. So yeah, that's the glare. And yeah, but for me, I don't think this effect is fitting to my site because I'm going for a professional look, and this is not so professional. So I'm just gonna go and disable this actually, but this is a cool thing to have if you have a brand that's more of a casual vibe, then you can definitely do it right here. And by the way, you also have some other types in here. We have the scroll effect right here, so you can see when I scroll and go up, and you would now have the scroll effect right here. As you can see, it smoothly glides down. That's the scroll effect, and then you'd have these respective settings in here on the left side, and then we have the hover effect, which is basically like this. It's not 3D, so there's that hover effect right there, and then we have the floating effect, and this is what floating effect looks like. That's it. So as for this one, I'm just gonna go and disable this. We have not tested out the effects, and we'll just be going for enable parallax on mobile. So I'm just gonna set this into hover effect actually, and go into mobile view. So this is one. So I'm gonna click on mobile view, and let's see how it looks. So as for this one right here, it is actually hidden. As you can see, it's grayed out. So this means that it is hidden from the mobile view. It's still showing because I am in the edit navigation menu, but if I'm done editing, then this will not be shown anymore. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm just gonna go back right here, go back into desktop, and then I'm just gonna go and save this right here, save and leave. And then there it is. Now I am not selecting anything. And when I go into the mobile view, and here it is, as you can see, the navigation menu here is now gone when you're here in the mobile view. So you would actually need to click here on the three horizontal bars to show the navigation menu. But when you click here on editing the header, the navigation would show up in here. So I just want you to take note of that in case you get confused. And now is that I'm gonna go back in here into editing the header to basically editing the navigation menu. Also, remember that we have turned on the parallax on mobile option earlier. And basically, what the parallax feature does is that it moves the images or sections as you scroll down in the website. So that's basically the parallax and mobile feature. So it's that simple as you can see right here. And I'm just gonna go back here into the navigation menu. I'm gonna click here on header once again and go back into the edit navigation menu option right here. And now I'm just gonna disable the Xstore effects because I don't want this anymore. I just want it to be like this, just some simple hover effect. And next is that we have the Xstore tooltip. So with this would let you show small info pop-ups when hovering over menu items. So we can enable this. And from here is that I'm gonna go for this is a great tool. And then you could also use some formatting text in here if you'd want. I'm gonna make this bold just like that. And next is that you can go for styles also. You can go for the width, the arrow size, typography, and many more. And now is that we're gonna go for the position. So it's here at the top. Animation is auto, and the animation duration, arrow, offset, and the trigger here. You can go for hover. And now when I hover over the menu in here, as you can see, nothing shows up because it is stuck here at the top. And since we have our menu here at the top, we should not set the position at the top also. We can go for left or right. So let's say left. And now when I hover on the navigation menu, as you can see, we now have this small info pop-up. So this is a great tool. And services, about us, and many more right here. So yeah, when you hover over the navigation menu, this shows up. So it's a helpful little feature that would help you guide your customer if needed. So you can just put in the message in here. And actually, for this one in the animation, let's say I'm gonna go for fade in, so that we will now have a fade in effect right there. So that's the tooltip if you'd want to use it. So as for this one is I'm gonna go for disabling this because I don't want this feature yet on this navigation menu. We have the Xstore condition. So this controls when or where a menu item appears. So let's enable this. And from here, we can now show or hide action. So we'll be going for show, and the conditions in here, you can put it right here. So if they are logged in or login status or the browser type, you can add more by clicking here on the plus button. And then you can add a condition by operating system. So they should have a certain operating system in order for them to be able to see the specific action. So yeah, you can do it right here, even the date range, and time. And here in the condition type is that basically it's like if all conditions need to be met or just one in order to trigger the hide or show action that we did right here. So I'm gonna go for all. You could also go for at least one if you'd want. And the login status right here that we have included as a condition. So is it logged in or logged out? So I'm going to go for logged in. So they must be logged in order for them to meet this condition. And the browser type, you can include the browsers right here. Google Chrome, Safari, and more. And as you can see, when I include operating system in here, I get to have this another menu in operating system. So they must have a Mac OS in order for them to meet this certain condition, and they would be able to see, or the website will show them this specific action. So yeah, it's basically that simple in here for the conditions. This is helpful if you would want to add some exclusive items or maybe features to specific customers here in Xstore, so that you can easily do it right here. So we have the Xstore conditions for that. And yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna disable this again. Next up, we have the Xstore wrapper link. So in here is where you can control the entire menu to be clickable, not just the text. So in here is that I'm gonna go for a link. Let's say google.com right there. And then now you can click here on link options. You can open a new window or add no follow if you'd want. So you could also go for custom attributes. So let's say I'm gonna go for open new window. And then we have the dynamic tags in here. You can go for post, archive URL, site URL, and many more. But this wrapper link is actually redundant here in the navigation menu because we already have links in embedded into these buttons in here. So it doesn't really take effect, and this will not be able to override the link that is already embedded in these buttons. And yeah, that is basically the wrapper link. It will make the whole block clickable right here. So for example, in here, as you can see, there is a space right here, but it's still clickable right here, but nothing happens because again, the navigation menu is already full of links. There is already a link here embedded for this button, as you can see, so the wrapper link doesn't really override that. But you could use this in other blocks, not the navigation menu, maybe blocks that doesn't have a link embedded to them. Next is that we have the Xstore attributes. So this would let you add extra HTML attributes so that you would be able to add it into a menu item or element. For example, you can go for this HTML code. So this would let you attribute to a link. This is useful for SEO. You could also go for target blank, just like this one right here. You can use it something like this, attribute so that the link opens in a new tab, and many more. You could also use AI right here to write the custom attributes for you. So you can click on write with AI, and then you can step into the future with Elementor AI. You can click here on connect. So with this, you actually need to log in into your Elementor account if you'd want to use Write with AI in writing your attribute. But yeah, this is actually great if you would want fine-grained control over how links behave and how developers can hook into CSS or JS. So if you're a complete beginner, then you don't need to mess with this if you have no idea about coding. And now next is that we have the Xstore Ajaxify. So with this would basically make menu links load content using Ajax without a full page reload. So here we have lazy loading. We can enable that. So basically what this would do is that when a user clicks on a menu item, for example, this navigation menu, instead of refreshing the whole site to go into the specific destination of this button, only the relevant content area updates. Like for example, the only this body updates right here. The header and the footer doesn't update anymore because it stays the same even in a different destination here on your website. So this is best for product filters or category menus where you would want instant updates. It's just that not all plugins or script play nicely with Ajax loading. So if you notice some broken functionality, you may need to disable Ajax for those links. So here it's currently enabled. So yeah, it's basically just a toggle on or off button. It's a very simple feature, but very powerful if it goes well with your plugins or scripts. So for example, I'm here in the live view of the website. So notice that the header here doesn't load or reload anymore when I am changing location here in the website. Like for example, I'm going to go into home. You'd be able to see that only this part here is reloading into About Us. As you can see, this doesn't get refreshed or reloaded. So in that way, it will be much smoother for the website or faster to load when navigating here on your website. So that's basically Ajax, and it's very useful. So yeah, that is basically the last of the Xstore features here available on the edit navigation menu. You also have some layouts, motion effects, and transform. So these are your basic settings here that is built in Elementor. So we also have the sticky right here. So if you'd want to keep the navigation menu stick at the top, as you can see, we still have it right here. It's just that it's not visible because only the text here is sticky. But I'm gonna set this to none right there because I don't want it like that. You could also go for the logo. You can make it sticky if you'd want. You could have it here in the motion effects. So you could do it one by one, and also the white part if you would want to. So those are your advanced basic options here in Elementor. And now we'll be moving on into the buttons. So we're going to click here on the button. And now we can go for the content. We have some general settings. We could go for the hover effect. So again, this is built in for Elementor. This is not the Xstore effects. So let's say I'm gonna go for a fill to top right here. So when I hover, as you can see, there's a fill going on with the color, and we have the animation effect, the text, and many more right here that you would want to enable. And then we have the style once again. So you have the typography, the text color, or background type, and then the color in here. So as for this one, I'm just gonna change the color in here. So I'm gonna go and make it like that so it fits our logo color in here. So I'm just gonna change it a bit. So let's say something like this. That's good. And then the get started button. So I mean the text, I also would want to change that. So actually I'm gonna go for the text right here. Text color, I'm gonna set it into orange. And here it is, orange, right there. And actually this looks bad. Let's see, let's make it more orange and see if it's actually any good. I think the white one was better, so I'm just gonna leave it at white right there. So I think that looks good. Now let's go into advanced. And in here we have the Xstore effects once again. You can enable that if you would want to go for another effects like the scroll, 3D hover. So you can see when I enable that, we now have the 3D hover effect there, or just simple hover effect. So I think the 3D hover effect looks good in here. So it actually gets bigger. I like it. And then we have some other things in here. So basically the same thing that we have discussed earlier. Also, another important thing is that here in the content section, you could go here for the link so that you could control on where this button would lead the customer when they click on it. So for example, I would want to just lead them into google.com, or maybe just stay put with this link. So it's gonna put the or redirect, the customer to the certain link. So in this case, in the Envato product of Xstore. So let me just save this so that we also could save the Xstore effect that we did. And now we're gonna go for a live preview. So we have it right here. So we can just refresh this so that we would now be able to get the updated settings. And now as you can see right here, there is now the 3D hover effect in the button. Now when we click on that, it will now lead us into the Envato market with the Xstore theme as indicated in the link that we have set earlier. Alright, so now next thing that we're going to discuss is that we're going to be adding some elements or widgets here into our website. So first, let's save our progress here in header. So we can do that by clicking anywhere outside of the header, let's say here, and click on save and leave. And once it's saved is that we can now click here on edit page. So we will now be proceeding into editing this page, and all the elements here will be unlocked right there. So now we can select the specific elements. Now, I would want to add a countdown or a countdown timer in here to create a sense of urgency to my customers so that they would grab the deal immediately. And I just want to click here on the add element button on the top left. And basically in here is that I'm going to go and find a countdown. So we have Xstore widgets in here. And we have the countdown right here. So we have the countdown timer. we can drag it right here on anywhere we would want to put it here in a page. So I would want to put it right here. There it is. So now we have that countdown. So in here, we can click on this countdown timer, and then basically we can edit the settings in here on the left menu. So what you're seeing here in the left menu highly depends on what kind of widget you have imported here into the website. So we will not be able to test each one of them because there are too many, but basically they all work the same way. You just need to edit here on the left menu when selecting that specific Xstore widget or element. So in here we have the due date. You could set this if you would want to, and we have the stretch items, horizontal align, show 00 counter, days, hours, minutes, seconds, depending on what you would want to show. So here on stretch items, you could see it could be stretched like this if you want to fill that up, but I think this one is enough. And next is that we have the heading. You could go for yes if you'd want to add this certain heading in here, but I don't want that, so I'm just gonna stick here into general. So here we could add a due date. So let's say that we are running a Holy Week special discount. So let's say I'm gonna go, or maybe a summer discount actually, so I'm gonna go until the end of April. So here at 30, so now it will not be updated right here. Or maybe you just want it until 1 day only. So let's see, I'm gonna go back in here. So let's say 21 right there. So there is only 1 day, and then after that is you can set that, and there it is. And also the time, by the way. So I'm satisfied with the time, so I'll just leave that be. And there it is. It is now selected. And we now have 1 day. And next is that you can go for the label position. You can go for left. You can go for right. You can go for bottom, however you'd want it. So I just want it like this one right here. And I would want to show everything. And custom labels, I don't want that. So basically I'm done with the timer, just like that. So basically now I just would want to edit this text. So I would want to remove this header right here, or subheading text as they call it here. I'm going to remove that just like that. And then I'm just going to go and customize this. And now I'm going to go for grab the discounted deal now. Right here, and I'm gonna go for this one. For this one, I'm just gonna say grab or buy the, or actually grab is the best word. Grab the deal now with huge discounts for this summer sale. And I'm gonna say you can purchase all of Auto First products subscription with this discount, just like that. So now we have it just like that. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. And in here is that I'm gonna change the button also. So I would want to rearrange this. So how I want to do this is basically I would want to put this at the bottom right here, there, and I would want to make it centered. So now I'm just gonna go and expand this right here and actually drag it just like that. And as for this one, I'm gonna make it centered. There, it is now centered. And also for this one, I'm gonna expand this box. Oops, that's wrong. So I'm gonna go press Ctrl+Z to undo, and let's see if it would go back. There it is. And now is that I'm just gonna go and expand this and make it longest possible right there. And I'm also gonna make this centered just like that. So it's now centered. And next is that I would want to change the color of the button for this one right here. And I'm gonna go into style for that one. And now I'm gonna go for the background color. I'm gonna make it into orange. so that we stick to our branding color, just like that. And I'm gonna go for the text color. I'm gonna make it white. That's even better. All right, that's good. And now I also want to customize the text in here. So let's say grab the deal now, just like that. And then as for this one right here is, I'm gonna go for browse. Oops, I'm gonna go for right here. Let's say view the product, maybe something like that. Yeah, just view the products. And this one is grab the deal now. Also, I would want to add some effect here from Xstore. I would want to add a 3D hover effect because I really like it and I think it's very intuitive. As for this one, I'm not gonna add anything. I just would want to highlight this button here. I actually would want to make this button bigger so that it would tower over this button in here and it will be highlighted, or it would stand out more. So I'm just gonna click here on this button and navigate here into advanced, and then we could go here to transform. And now I can just go for scale and modify this right here. I can make that bigger, just like that. I think this one is fine. And as for this one right here, I'm also gonna modify the transform aspect of this one, and I'm gonna make it a bit smaller right here. So it can't be made smaller already because this is already the minimum size, but it's fine. We can just offset this so that it's not so close to the button, and I'm gonna offset it for a bit. Let's say I'm gonna go for 8, just like that. And also offset this right here. I'm gonna go for transform and offset just a tad bit, just like that. So yeah, I think I like it more now. That's it. And I'm satisfied with the button. The next thing is that we have this one right here. You could also change the image here if you would want to, and you could select the image resolution, caption, link, and many more. And as for now is that I'm gonna go and put something in here so that it's not so empty. I'm gonna put a product carousel in here. So basically, we can do that by clicking here on the plus button again, and we can go into the Xstore widgets. So now I'm gonna add a carousel in here. So I'm gonna go for carousel anything because I just want to put an image carousel in here. You could also go for the other widgets in here if you'd want. But yeah, this is what I want. So I'm gonna click here, and basically in here on the left side is where we can edit our carousel. We can see the items. So I'm gonna go for item 1, and in here you can add any text, but as for this one I only want the media, so I'm just gonna delete all of this, and I'm gonna click here on add to media, and then I just basically select the photos in here that I would want to add. So in my case, I have my file in here. I'm just gonna drag and drop it. All right, so here it is. Now it is uploading, so let's just wait for it to finish, and here it is. So now I'm just gonna go for this one right here. So basically these are just a sample product placeholders. So we have this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want it like that. I only would want one image per slot right here. So I only want one image, so I'm just gonna select this one, insert into post, and here we have it. And from here we could actually make it bigger right here by adjusting it right here by scaling it up, and then we can make it centered by clicking here on align center. So in that way it is centered, as you can see. And then I'm gonna go and make it a bit bigger now, just like that. I think that is perfect. And then next is that you could now go for the second item right here if you want. So this is product number 1, sample product number 1, and I'm gonna go for product number 2 in here. I'm gonna delete this once again, add media, and then basically do the same thing. So this one, insert into post, and this one is number 3, so wrong product. I'm gonna go for this one, which is a product number 4. So let me just find the product number 2, which is this one, I think. So it's this one. There it is, product number 2. And now you can go here, and then you'd be able to see the product number 2 in there. And now the problem here is that we would have to format this once again. The trick here to format them easily so they are all the same size is basically I just want to go back into item 1, and I'm just gonna go and click here on edit so that I can see the width and the height. So I just need to copy this, and remember 259405. So now I can go into item number 2, and in here I can edit the image once again and also put in the size, custom size, and put it the same width and the height, 259405, and make it center, and click on update. And from here, we would now have the same size. As you can see, it's like that. It's as easy as that. And now there's a slight variation here at the top. As you can see, it's not aligned perfectly. So in that way, I can just remove the space here because there's space right here. All right, the space is now deleted and it should now be exactly the same size. There it is. So we just need to do the same thing. We're going to add another item, and this one is for sample product number 3. So add media again and find number 3, which is this one. I'm going to click here on insert into post and basically do the same thing. Edit and custom size, and then the width here and the height, and make it centered, and update, and there it is. And last one is for product number 4. So I'm going to delete that, add media, product number 4, photo, insert it, and then edit once again, and then go into size, custom size, width, and then the height. And then as for this one, I'm going to go for centered once again. And now we have a carousel right here made easily. So you could also do it the same thing, but this is highly subjective if you want to do the same style as I did right here. And now all I have to do is repeat the same process here on the other parts of this homepage. So I will not be showing you everything right here that I'll be doing because it will just bore you. It will be very subjective and redundant because it may not be the feature that you will be using. So basically what you want to keep in mind is that when you insert a block in here, so let's say I'm going to go for this one, add element, is that you can just simply drag and drop it because we're using the Elementor editor. So it's basically just drag and drop, just like this one right here. And then to edit that certain block or element or widget that you have dragged in here, you just need to click on it and then navigate here into the left side. And this is where you can see the settings on how you'd be able to customize that according to how you'd want it to look. So that's the important thing that you would want to remember in here. And now another thing that I would want to discuss is this one right here. So you can click here on plus. So this would add another section in here. So basically add another space automatically. You can go for the Xstore Studio, Xstore Live Paste, and then we can also use AI if you'd want. So as you can see, beta, you could use this if you log in into Elementor AI or log in with your Elementor account. And then, yeah, so we're just going to go click here on Xstore Studio, and we'll be exploring this. Xstore is basically a built-in library of pre-designed sections, blocks, and layouts that you can insert directly into your page. So it's like a mini template marketplace inside the theme, giving you ready-made designs for headers, footers, product showcases, call to actions, and many more parts of a website. So the difference basically from the template that we did earlier was the demo import, or the one that we did earlier was a full website that was imported as our template or theme. But this one are parts of a website. So you can choose which part you would want to import in that specific part of the website that we were editing just now. So let me just pick one right here. So let's say I'm gonna go for something simple. This one is a header. We already have a header, so I'm gonna look for something else. And actually, I'm gonna go for a plan, for example, right here. So you can click here on preview if you'd want. Then you'd be able to preview that part. So just wait for it to load, and here's what it would look like. I don't know. You could also view it in other views or other devices. Right here, this is the mobile view. This is how it would look like. And then once you're ready, you can click here on insert. And then it will now be inserted to the part of the website that you have indicated. So we just need to wait for it to load. And as you can see, it is now inserted here in our website. And now it is available for us to edit. Once again, you can click here on that specific part you want to edit and just simply navigate here into the left menu. Same goes for the other parts. And notice that we have some space right here, so you can also remove that if you would want to. And yeah, basically that is how you would be able to do this in the Elementor edit page. Next is that you want to make sure that every change that you have made right here is actually looking good on other views. Like for example, here in tablet, you want to check on how it would look here on the tablet mode. This is how it would look like. If it's okay with you, then you can proceed. So actually this one is pretty decent. It's all good. Now let's go into the mobile view if it's actually also good. So here it is. It's looking like this. And here's the countdown. Grab the deal, view the products, and so on. So it's not so good here. It's too congested on this part. And in here, you could also edit this. So now you could click on it. And then from here, you could go for the style. You can make it centered right here. And when you go here into desktop view, it will not be affected, as you can see. And in here in the mobile view, it's in centered. So you could also customize it right here without affecting the other views. And we have this button right here. You can make that smaller if you'd want. And we have this button and so on. So basically, the gist here is that you would want to make your edits in each view so that you'd be able to make sure that everything looks good no matter what view or no matter what device the customer is using to go into your website. And yeah, that's basically everything that you would need to know here. You'll be repeating the same process as you complete more pages here in your website. Last thing that I will discuss here in the editor page would be the top menu here, because it's also very important. So first is that we have this button. This would take you to the back end or the homepage of WordPress. And this one would be able to make you add an element in here. So we already know this. And then we have the page settings where you can modify the settings of the page that you have selected in here. So now you can see that we can customize the title. We could go for homepage, for example. And then we have the status, featured image, order, allow comments, hide title, page layout, the grid layer, basically like this view if you'd want that. And then you can customize the width and everything else. And then you have the style. You can go for the margin, the padding of the website, and then custom CSS for coding if you have some knowledge here. And yeah, that's basically it for the page settings. So if you'd want to save your changes, you just want to go into another page. For example, I'm going to go for this one right here and just click on save and leave. And then you just simply want to go back if you'd want to go into that page you can. So we have this one, and as you can see, the name is now homepage. And next is that we have this one. So this is basically for the notes. So when you open this, is that you'd be able to add some notes here on the parts of the website. So I'm going to click here. And then as you can see, we now have the notes panel. And I have some comments that I have made earlier as an example, so you can see it just like this. And now if you'd want to make some notes, is that you want to make sure that you are in this view right here. And then you can choose which part of the elements in here you'd want to make notes of. Like for example, this one, you can click on that. And now we have the spin. Now you can make notes like make some improvements here. And leave a note. And then you should see that listed in here. Next is that we have this one, which is the history, where you can see the actions that was done in this homepage or this page right here. And then you can see the revisions. So let me just go here into revisions. And this is where you'd be able to see the detailed revisions or changes that was made here in your website. Next is where you'd be able to navigate throughout your website. You can see the pages in here. You could also add a new page if you'd want. And we have the different views in here. We have already discussed this on how you'd be able to optimize the views. So let me just close this notes panel in here. And then we also have the mobile portrait right here. So this is also a view. And then we have the checklist. So this is basically just a checklist from Elementor on what you should do to set up your website. So in here, you can set up your global fonts and colors. If you haven't done this yet, you could also click here on go to site identity now. And basically this is where you can set your colors. But in my case, how I like to do this is that I just set the color per part manually. It depends on your preference. You can also set it up right here on the global fonts and colors if you'd want. And next is that we have the what's new, basically some announcement or patches here in Elementor so that you'll be updated with the latest update. And then the finder, so if you want to find anything here in Elementor, this is where you can find it. Like for example, you would want to add some element, you can type in element. And then you can see that you can now add a new floating element, the settings in here regarding elements, tools, and many more. And in here is where you can see the structure. So let me just go back and here. So let me just go and save and leave so that it will not be grayed out. And now we have the structure available. You can click on that. So basically this is where you'd be able to control the layout and hierarchy of an element. It's not a flashy effect like tooltips or parallax, but it's definitely a way to define how the element is organized and interacts with its container. So in here you can see that we have a lot of containers in here. So this would let us adjust how the element sits inside its parent's container. So for example here, you could drag this and you can rearrange this just like that, as you can see. And as you can see, it's now rearranged just like that. So this is also another way for you to rearrange your elements in here. And then here you could click here to view your changes. So preview. And basically the same thing that we did earlier when you click here on drop down and click on view page. You can also publish now if you are now satisfied with everything and you think you're ready. You click here on publish and it will now be published just like that. And we have the drop down menu where you can save this as a draft if you're not yet ready to publish, or you could go for save as a template and view page. Alright, so now we are done with the designing part on Elementor with the Xstore features that you could use there. Next is that we're going to set up our WooCommerce because this is absolutely necessary because we are a store or a shop. So if you don't have this plugin installed yet, you want to make sure that you go here into Xstore and go into plugins installer. And from here, you can now get the WooCommerce plugin right here. Just simply click on the install button, just like this one on WooCommerce if it's not yet installed. So now I'm going to click here on WooCommerce so that we can start setting it up. And now it's currently loading, and now you can click here on set up my store. So this is my recommended method on how you'd be able to start setting up your WooCommerce. And in here, you just need to answer these questions in here. So I'm going to go for, I'm just starting my business, depending on which one is appropriate for you and what type of products or services are you planning to sell. So in my case, I'm going to go for education and learning. I'm going to click here on continue and then get a boost with the free features, maximize conversions with payments, PayPal payments, and many more. You can click and continue there. And then it's now loading, so let's just wait for that to load. And from here, it's now going to prompt us to log in. So you just need to log in here. You can use your email, your Google account, Apple account, or GitHub account, depending on which one you prefer in creating or signing in. Once you're logged in, you'll now be able to proceed here. So you just need to follow and complete the steps in here to properly set up your WooCommerce. So first is add your products. So we can click on that. And from here, what product do you want to add? You can go for a physical product, variable product, group product, or if you're already selling elsewhere, you can just import your products in a form of CSV file so that you don't have to manually import each one of them. You could also go for print on demand products. And in here, you can also click here on view more product types. You also have the digital product and external product. In my case, I'll just go for a digital product for this one. And now we'll be able to proceed to the next step. So we would need to add more details regarding our digital products in here. So first is a product name. So in my case, for this example, I'm just gonna go for a sample ebook or e-guide product number 1, something like that. And in here you could also edit this with Elementor if you'd want. So this is the permalink right here, and then you can add a product description. So in here is that I'm just gonna go for something simple. This is the sample product description of this product right there. And then next is that we have the product data, so you can see the regular price right here. So let's say that this is 5,000, and now the sale price that is right now would be 4,500 or 4,500, so that the customers would actually see this as a discount and they will be more enticed to buy this product, and the price is even more appealing. Also, don't forget here in the product data, you can go for virtual if these are intangible and not shipped, and downloadable if applicable to the digital product that you are selling in here. And then you have the downloadable files. You can add a file in here, so you can click here. You can go for the file name or the file URL in here, so you can also choose the file from your device storage if you want. So I'm just going to go and do that, and actually I'm just going to go for the sample product and insert file URL, and there it is. And you can add more files if needed. And download limit, download expiry, you can set that right here, and sale price, time start, and time end for that sale price if you'd want it to end. Also, we have some more right here. You can go for inventory, so some more details. Link products, so if you'd want to upsell another product once the customer is interested in buying this product, you can select for that right here. But as of the moment, we don't have any products yet because we're just starting out. But this is basically where you can select that if you'd want to upsell, and if you'd want to cross sell, this is where you can select your product. And next is that we have the attributes. You can add it right here. Some more advanced settings like the purchase note, menu order. We have the Reddit, Snapchat, more options in here like subscriptions if you do want to sell subscriptions here in WooCommerce, and bought together. So this one is from Xstore right here, as you can see. So you could select another product in here that you would like to suggest that should be bought together with this certain product that you are selling. So that's it. And then after that, you can proceed here into the product short description. So I'm just going to go for, again, another sample, a sample short product description. Next is that we have the Xstore options. So this is exclusive in the Xstore if you have the Xstore theme. So we have the general, and we have the primary category and the sale countdown. If you want that, then you could enable it right here. You could go for grid, list, single list, or single list or grid. And then we have the single layout on how you'd want it to look like, the product layout in here. And I just want to go here for inherit and disable sidebar, and some more options in here like the thumbnail, product calorie slider, size guide type, and many more. We have the archive page, so you can archive image, hover effect. So I just want it to be inherit, so I don't want to set any of these effects yet on this current options because I haven't decided. So I'm just gonna see what it would look like later on before I decide here. And then the Xstore assistant. So for this one right here, you would need to log in into the Xstore account, and you'd need to go into the control panel. But basically, once you're all satisfied with your settings in here, you can now proceed here at the right side or right menu. In here, we could see that we can now save this as a draft. We could preview. We could already publish this. And there are still some more options in here, like the product image. You could set that right here. You can click here and set product image. And then you can set that right here. Choose the image and set it. There it is. And then in product gallery, you can add product gallery images if you want. And product categories, you can add a new category in here if you want, and this is also where you'd be able to see the categories that you have created. Product tags, we have the Xstore brands right here. You can add a new brand if you'd want, And then this is a brand, so they are separate in here. This is exclusive to the Xstore theme. We have the post attributes and a product video. So if you want to add a video, you can click here on add product gallery video. You could also do the same thing. If you go here into product description, you could also add a video in here. And basically, once you're done with the details in here, once you're satisfied with it, you can click here on publish. And then you'll be able to add it into WooCommerce as a live product. There it is. And then now is that we are gonna go and click here on continue setup, because we are now done and creating or adding our first product. So now we can proceed to the next step in setting up our WooCommerce. And of course, you can repeat the same process later on or right now until you're satisfied. And now we'll just be proceeding into the setup payments. So you want to click here on setup payments, and we will now be proceeding into that step. So now in here, one very important thing that you should take note is the business location in here, because this would greatly affect on what options or providers you have available. Like for example, I'm going to go for United States right here and click on apply. And then you'd be able to see that I now have different options here for payment providers, and also it would affect the more payment options in here. So you want to make sure that the business location here is absolutely correct. And you can just basically choose the payment method or payment provider that you would want to integrate here into your WooCommerce. For example, here in accept payments with Woo itself, you can click here on install, or PayPal, you can click here on complete setup. You basically just need to follow the on-screen instructions. After that, it would be subjective on which one you would choose, because there is a lot of choices in here, especially if you're in a different location that I am. But yeah, it's very simple on how you can set it up. You just need to log in into your account or whatever payment provider that you are using in here. So just make sure to follow the instructions once you click on this button. So as for this one is that I'm just going to go for a PayPal account, because I think this is the simplest one. I'm going to click here on complete setup so that we can complete this step. So now let's start by clicking here on activate PayPal payments, and you can choose your account type, personal or business, and click here and continue once you selected one, and tell us about the products you sell. I'm going to go for virtual, and you can go for physical goods and subscription also. Continue, and in here you can add expanded checkout for more ways to pay. You can go for credit and debit cards, or you could go for a different payment provider for local payment methods. I'm gonna click here and continue, and in here you can complete your payment setup. So you need to connect to PayPal, and from here is that you would need to go through this process. So let's just wait for this to load. Let me expand. And in here, you can connect a PayPal account to start accepting payments on WooCommerce. So you just need to log in here. And then click on next once done. And from here, you just need to provide the password. So you're going to click here and log in. And now once done, you can see that you're now all set. Now you can click here on return to WooCommerce. And then that's it. You just need to wait for this one to load. And now you'll be prompted in here. And as for this one, these are other things that you can do here regarding the PayPal payment, but for now we'll just skip that. The important thing is now we have a payment method. You could also enable this right here so that you could add a protection to your payments. That is also very helpful. And now we are done with this step. We have now added a payment method, so now we can proceed to the next one. So let's just click here on WooCommerce so that we can go back in here into the main page. Next, we have the collect sales tax step, so we can click on that, and from here you can set the store location and configure tax rates in here. So this is subjective depending on where you're from, so I'll not be guiding you all throughout for this one, because it might be different in your case. But yeah, these are all personal details anyways, so you can definitely do it on your own. So you just need to set it up, and then you can launch the store in here, but we don't need this because we already have the Xstore theme in here. And also, if you are selling physical products, then I suggest going here at the bottom and going into review shipping options, and make sure that you have your shipping zone set up in here. And yeah, basically that's everything I recommend on I'm setting up here in WooCommerce before you proceed into the other things here in Xstore. And that's it. We are now complete on the WooCommerce setup. All right, so by now, your website or store is essentially set up already with all the fundamentals. So now I'll just be discussing the other features that is available here on Xstore, as this would also greatly improve your store if you decide to use these other features that I'll be discussing right now. So make sure to stay tuned. And basically, you just need to go here into WordPress page so that you can go here into the back end of your site and go here into Xstore on the left menu. And in here, the first thing that we'll be discussing, it would be the theme options. Now, the first setting that I would want to discuss here under theme options would be the breadcrumbs. So in here, you could customize their style and position. So as you can see, we have the style, the title tag, the categories or title tag, and some more options in here like the background text color, breadcrumb effect. You can choose that right here. We have parallax and mouse move, text animation and scroll, padding, typeface, and many more. So this feature is basically helpful for navigation and SEO because Google uses breadcrumbs in search results. So optimizing this would really be a big help if you are aiming for SEO. Also, to follow it up is that we also have the SEO option here on the theme option. So right here in the left menu, you can click on SEO. So in here, we can enable the SEO settings. So you can enable this, toggle that on. And from here, we have the custom meta description, meta keywords, open graph image, no index, no follow tag. So these are your options here in the SEO section. So these are basic SEO settings. Now that we have looked at the breadcrumbs and SEO settings inside here in Xstore, you can see that the theme already provides a solid SEO-friendly features like clean code, we have schema support, and options to help search engines understand your site better. But while Xstore gives you the foundation, Moz just takes SEO to another level. So if you would want your e-commerce store to rank higher in search results, Moz is a tool that you should definitely give a try. It helps you go beyond the basics, finding untapped keywords, analyzing competitors, tracking your rankings, and uncovering opportunities to grow your traffic. So once your store is set up and optimized with Xstore, Moz is the next step to really push your SEO strategy forward. I'll leave the Moz link below in the description, so check it out if you're serious about boosting your store's visibility and reaching more customers. You want to use it if you want to get the best deals possible. So now going back into the theme options. Next is that we have the general layout. So for this one right here, we have a bunch of options here. We have the site layout. You can go for wide layout, boxed, framed, or bordered. We have the site width, mobile optimization. I recommend enabling this because this would help you disable unused HTML, CSS, and JS off the desktop elements. So this would make it actually smoother. And then we have the mobile user scalable. So this is optional if you would want to allow users to scale content on mobile devices. And we have the site preloader right here. So enabling this option will provide a nice loading effect while your site or page is in loading mode. So this is subjective, but I just turned this off right here because I think it just makes it laggy. And then we have the images loader. So you can upload an interesting PNG to make the waiting time less of a hassle. Static blocks, Xstudio Studio. So enabling this option will give you access to the Xstudio for Elementor page builder. So exactly what we did earlier. So I also recommend enabling this so that you can use it in Elementor. And we have the menu advanced options and classic widgets panel and many more. So yeah, this is basically the general or layout options. Next is that we have the global sections. So this is where you'd be able to assign reusable sections like a promo bar or custom header or footer that appear across multiple pages. So here you can see sections. So you can select the position of the global section on the website. So in here, you can go for before site wrapper, the position, and the generic sections. You could also add a new item if needed. Don't forget to click here on Save Changes. Next, we have the footer options. So in here, this is a drop-down menu. You can go for footer layout, footer styling, copyright styling, and back to top button. And yeah, this is where you can manage the footer layout, widgets, copyright text, and its styling. So first here in footer layout is where you could customize the columns, enable or disable the demo blocks, sliding effect, and widgets toggle on mobile. We also have the footer styling, wherein you could change the color scheme for the text, the link colors, the background, padding, and many more. We have the copyright styling in here. You can see that you can change the color scheme once again, the link colors, background, and padding, and then the back to top button. On in here, you can turn on show back to top button at the bottom right of the page, or you could go for this one also, which is for the mobile version. For reference, this is the back to top button that is being referred on the footer. So when you click on this, as you can see, it will now scroll you back up to the top of the website. And now moving on, we have the mobile panel. So with this, you can customize the mobile navigation panel like the icons, menu items, and mobile specific features. So in here, you can enable the mobile pane so that you can add essential icons such as cart, shop, home, and many more. You have the sections in here that is available on mobile so that you can also easily reorder them right here. You can click here on the arrow buttons to rearrange them if needed. So that's it. And then we have the main configurations. You can show labels, show text, toggle the 0 1 content type, and many more in here. And we have the style. So you can go for the height of the mobile panel. You can modify it right here, and then the content zoom. So this is the option that allows you to zoom in or out of the content in the current element, and a background control, and some more color control in here. And then once you're all done with your settings, don't forget to click here on Save Changes. Next up is that we have the styling or colors. So this is where you can set your global color schemes, backgrounds, and design accents to keep branding consistent. So in here we have the dark version toggle. So you can turn on the switch to change your website to the dark style version. You can enable that right here. And then you can click here on Save Changes, and once it's saved is that we can try and refresh this website right here. So now let's click here on refresh, and from here, as you can see, we now have the dark version in here, which is actually not optimized that well. So I suggest not turning this on if you haven't really optimized your website for this. So blindly turning it on will result into something like this. As you can see, the text is not readable anymore. So I suggest turning it off for now. Click here and Save Changes. In here, you can also choose the main color of the theme. So this would be the color of links, active buttons, and elements right here. You can select the color, you can click here, and then you can choose or pick the color in here. Same goes for the mobile or browser bar color, site background. We have container background color, slider arrows color, site slider arrows color, and many more. Here in input, we have the border radius, background color, and border color. Here in alerts, we have the background color, text color in here, light buttons, and yeah, basically the design or the styling options in here is everything right here in the styling or colors section. And once you're done, click on Save Changes. Next, we also have the Age Verify pop-up. So this would enable a pop-up that asks visitors to confirm their age before entering the website. So this is useful if you are selling alcohol, adult, or restricted products. So you can enable this just like that. And you also have the developer mode available in here. If you need some time to test your age verification pop-up, you can use this mode in here. And note that the pop-up will be displayed on each page load in developer mode. And here you could enter the title text for the pop-up right here. So you can see this is the before you enter, and then the content in here. Are you over 18 years old? This website requires you to be 18 years or older. So you can customize this text in here. And then we have the agree button text. You can go for yes, I am. And deny button text, no, I am not. You could also customize it right here. And we have the deny button redirect. So if they choose the no button or deny button, you could just enter a link in here to redirect them, like for example, google.com. And you could also leave it empty if you would want to open the error content, which is basically like this. And now let's say that I'm not going to be putting anything in here. So we'll be going here into the error content settings. So you can see that we have the error title text, access forbidden, and then the description or text in here that you could also use. And we have the pop-up style, the alignment, dimensions, and many more right here, including the colors and other controls. And basically, once you're done, is that I'm just gonna go and enable this, and basically I'm gonna click here on Save Changes, and let's see. I'm now gonna go here and refresh the site, and as you can see, we now have this notice in here. So this is the age verification pop-up. So when I click here on No, I am not, I can see the access forbidden in here, so I will not be able to access the website anymore. Next is that we have the WooCommerce shop settings in here. So it's a drop down menu, and there's a lot of options that you can actually customize in here. So this is where you can control the shop page layout, product grid styles, quick view, wish list, cart behavior, and many more. So in here, we also have the shop page filters here under shop, and then product design, catalog mode. You could enable it right here. We have the shop elements, so there's actually a lot in here. Single product page, cart page. So there's a lot of features here that you can enable or customize. And yeah, basically all about the WooCommerce shop or plugin that we have installed. And this is also where you could customize them if needed for your product. Next, we have the typography. So this is where you can set your global font sizes and line heights for headings, body text, and buttons. So here you can choose the font family or the font style that you want, the variant right here. So basically all similar to the size. You can go for ultralight, light, book, medium, semi-bold, and bold. You can choose that right here, and here the font size itself. You can indicate line height, letter spacing, text transform, and then your font color. We also have the paragraphs, font size, line height, headings, and many more. So that's typography. It's very easy to understand all about text. Next up, we have the blog. So in here, you can go for the blog layout or the single post. So this is where you can configure the post styles, meta display, and related posts also. So here the blog layout is, you can choose the layout itself right here. So you can choose which one, and the post per row, full width, masonry, sidebar position, and many other features here regarding the layout of your blog. And we also have the single post in here. So there's also a bunch of options. And again, we have the layout for the single post, sidebar position, and more. Next is that we have the portfolio section. So this is where you can manage portfolio or project layouts if you would want to showcase your creative work. So in here, you can enable portfolio projects in here. You could toggle on or off for this feature. And you can now customize the portfolio page if you enable this. You can select the page. So actually, you can add a page exclusive for a portfolio. That is what I recommend in here. But I haven't added it as of now. So you can just select which page in here that you would want to use for portfolio. And we have the filter categories type. So if you'd want to show all portfolio categories for filtering projects, you can choose all. But you could also go for only parent if you would want to prevent the display of subcategories for filtering. You could go for full width, stretch, first project, masonry, and many others right here. So we also have the project designs, image size in here that you could customize. And yeah, this is basically it for portfolio. Next, we have social sharing. So for this one, this is where you can enable sharing buttons on products, posts, or portfolio items. So in here, you can include the website socials. You can select which website socials you'd want to include. And then you can copy the link on click. So this would enable the feature to copy the sharing link to the clipboard when it is clicked. So I suggest turning this on. I like to turn this on right here. And then we have the icons field, so you can enable this option to restyle the social media icons with field background colors according to the unique color scheme of each social media platform. I personally don't like this one, so I just keep it disabled. And from here, click on Save Changes once done. Next, we have GDPR and cookies. So this is where you can add cookie consent banners and GDPR compliance notices. So basically, if you notice when you go into a website and they're asking for cookies, this is basically the setting in here. You can enable that, and then you could see some options. So you could show on desktop, show on mobile view, and you could also change the position of the banner, animation type, and the cache lifespan in here. So the customer's agreement choice will be stored for a day's limit you set in this option. So this is also another important setting here in the GDPR and cookies, and then the content in here. So this website uses cookies to improve your experience. You could also customize this if you want. Page details, static block, and many more right here. So we have the pop-up style settings that you can customize here also. Next is the 404 page. So this is where you can customize the page not found screen with your own design and helpful links. So basically, you can just go here into the content and just type out whatever message you would want to put for the customer to see when they land on an error page or 404 page. And yeah, that's basically it. You could also go for code if you would want. Next is that we have the theme custom CSS. So this is where you can add your own CSS rules to override or extend theme styling. So this is where you can add some codes if you are knowledgeable about that. But if you're a complete beginner with no idea in coding, then you can just skip this one out. This is not for you. This is for those geeks that would be able to use this feature with coding, because you would need to actually put some codes in here to use the CSS or the theme custom CSS. Next is that we have the speed optimization. So this is where you'd be able to customize the options for lazy loading, minification, and performance tweaks to improve site speed. So all the settings in here is designed to improve the speed and performance of your website. So in here, we can disable PJAX pagination. So you can use AJAX instead of PJAX for shop, blog, and portfolio paginations. If AJAX is fine with you, then you can click here on enable, and it would improve your performance if AJAX is compatible with your website. And we have the image loading type. So to improve the site loading speed, there is a beneficial technique that delays the loading of off-screen images, which are considered non-critical resources. So in here, you could go for lazy. So in this way, the images will be replaced by a 1 by 1 pixel placeholder, and the LQIP means low quality image placeholder initially loads a low quality small version size of the final image and fills in the container. So basically, these are downgrades if you'd want to prioritize site performance over quality of the images. So I'm just going to go for default in here because I think the image is important in my site. And then we have the disable native WordPress lazy loading. So you could also enable this right here so that there will now be no lazy loading in here. If you are not lagging at all, then it would be better if you enable this. But if you're lagging and need more performance, then you could just go and try and experiment toggling it on and off and see which one is better. And then we have the rocket delay, disable old browser support, Ajax menu dropdown. So you could also use Ajax for your dropdown menu, and then the dropdown cache and static block cache and many more right here. So there's a lot of settings in here that you can use to improve your site performance. We have also the disable emoji in here, embeds, and many more right here. So these are the options that would help you optimize your speed and performance for your website. Next is that we have the live theme options. So this is used for previewing changes in real time before publishing the site. and it will take you here into the editing page, and then you could go for the general layout. And basically this is also the theme options in here, and you can go for different mobile views, or different views in here. We have the tablet and mobile views also available in here. And also notice that these are all the theme options. So that's it. And then lastly, we have the import or export. This is essentially where you can save your theme settings or transfer them to another site. So you could use export if you'd want to transfer this to another site, or import if you'd want to use another file and import it here into Xstore. And that's it. Next is that we'll now be going to the Xstore builders. We are now done with the theme options. And in here, this is basically where you can see a set of powerful tools that would let you design and control specific parts of your site without needing extra plugins. So instead of relying only on Elementor for page editing, Xstore gives you dedicated builders for key areas of your store. So as you can see, we have header builder, footer builder, single product, products archive, cart page, and many, many more. So you could just choose which one you would want to edit. For example, I would want to edit the header. You can click here on Go to Builder. And then you could choose via Elementor or Customizer depending on the editor that you have chosen to install here on your Xstore theme. Let's say Elementor. Now I'll be taken into Elementor, and it will show me the header. So this is my current header in here. And now you can click here on edit on the top right, and it will now proceed into editing the header. So we just have to wait for it to load for a bit. And as you can see, we are now taken back in here into the editing page. So basically the same thing to do earlier. You can just click here on the header and edit your things right here that you would want to edit. And basically the same thing goes for the other parts in here. For example, the cart page builder. I'm going to click here on Go to Builder. And then now, as you can see, I am now in Elementor once again, same as the one before. And now I'm taken here into my shopping cart page. As you can see right here, I'm in the cart section, and now I can edit this page right here. So I can just click on the things or elements in here. So yeah, this is very useful if you'd want to navigate to the specific pages here in your Xstore theme website, so that you won't get lost and you can see everything and go there easily and edit them with ease. Alright, so now next is that we have the sales booster. So this is basically a collection of built-in tools designed to help you increase conversions and sales on your e-commerce store. Instead of installing multiple plugins, Xstore bundles these marketing and engagement features directly into the theme, so you don't have to go away from Xstore. And you can choose which one you need right here. Like for example, I want to try the fake sale pop-up in here and activate it on our site. So now I'm going to click here and activate. And now there would be some pop-up in here to let us modify the sale booster element in here. So we have the fake sale pop-up, and you can use this option to enable or disable pop-up elements. You can go for image, time ago, and many more. So what appears here highly depends on what a sales booster or built-in tool that you have chosen in here. So in this case, it's the fake sale pop-up. So I have these options in here. You can put in the settings right here that you would want for this certain feature. And in here, we can now go for price, enable that. And we have hide out of stock products, sound notification, custom audio file, and many more in here. So we also have the pop-up animation. So I'm going to go for slide up for this one. And then once you're all done with the settings in here, you can click on save changes, and settings successfully saved. And now we can close that. And from here, let's go and refresh our website in here. And now, as you can see, we now have the fake sale pop-up in here on the bottom left. So this is what it would look like. And this product that is shown in here is actually from the product that we have added in WooCommerce. If you remember, this is the price in here. This is the original price, which is 5,000, and we reduced it to the sale price of 4,500. And in here, they can actually click here on view product so that they can go into the product page of that certain product and purchase it from here. So yeah, that's the sales booster, which is the fake sale pop-up, and there are a ton more that you could add into your website so that it would be able to help in getting you more conversions or sales. So this is also a really helpful feature here in Xstore theme, one of my favorites. Next is we have the email builder. So in Xstore, this is a feature that would let you design and customize the transactional emails that WooCommerce sends to your customers. So things like order confirmations, shipping updates, password resets, and account notifications. So instead of plain generic WooCommerce emails, you can make them match your store's branding and look professional with this feature. So now let's enable it. I'm going to click here to toggle it on. And I'll wait for it to load. And in here, you can now go here. As you can see, it says your email builder is activated. You can now try it by clicking the button below. So here, you can go for developer mode if you need some time to build your own email templates and keep the original ones to be sent for customers. You can use developer mode for the meantime. But if you're not yet live, then you can click here on go to email builder right away. And in here is where you'd be able to see the email templates that you have. So in here, we have this one right here for canceled orders. Right here, we have the failed orders, order on hold, and many more. So you could go for each email on which one you would want to edit. For example, here on canceled order, I'm going to go click here on edit. And it will now take me here into the email editing page. And now you can see the elements. So basically very similar to the Elementor that we did earlier. It's still a drag and drop editor in here. You could go for the layout, the content, and here on the right side is where you'd be able to customize some other settings in here. And if you would want to customize an element, just simply click on it and then navigate to the left menu. Very similar to what we did on the Elementor in editing our website. So basically the same concept in here. And then we also have the editor in here. This is where you'd be able to go into the editing the specific element that you have selected, and elements if you'd want to add elements. So it's basically that simple. So you just need to apply everything that you have learned in earlier in creating or editing the theme website here from Xstore. And once you're done, you can click here on update, and that's basically it. You have now updated the theme, or you have now built your email in here with your own preferences or with your own design. So when you click here on update, it will now be saved, and you can now go back and go for the other email templates if you would want to. You could customize them all. And that's basically the email builder here in Xstore. Next thing to discuss is that we have the patcher. This is another useful feature. So you want to go here to keep your theme up to date with fixes and improvements. As you can see, there's a bunch in here that's available. You can click here and apply to install it. And this would ensure compatibility with WordPress and WooCommerce updates, especially when you're facing errors. Next is that we have the custom fonts under content management. So this is where you'd be able to upload and use your own fonts beyond Google Fonts that is by default available here in Xstore. And take note that the uploaded fonts you uploaded in here, you will find it in Customizer and Typography section, and you can select the font from there. You can click here and upload font and basically just upload a file in here to install it into your Xstore website. And then, yeah, that is basically it on how you can do custom fonts. Next, we have the slides section. So for this one right here is where you can see the built-in slider feature for banners, promotions, or hero sections. So you could add a new slide if you don't have one yet by clicking here on add new slide. And then you will now be taken into another page. And this is basically like the Xstore Studio that we did earlier. So let's just wait for that to load. And here we are in the Xstore templates. As you can see, it's very similar to the Studio. You can just choose which slider you would want to add to your website. For example, I want this one. I can now click here on insert. You could also preview it first if you'd want. I just want to go for insert right here. And now it's loading. And now you can edit the slider in here. You can change the text, the image in here. So basically the same process as we did earlier when editing the website. It's still in Elementor. So basically the same thing on how you'd be able to edit this and replace it with your own site's details. For now, let's say that everything is now done. And basically what you want to do from here is that you would want to go and click here on publish once you are ready. And yeah, that is basically how you can use the slides. And now when you refresh it from here, you should now be able to see this slide in here that you have just created, and you can edit it from here anytime or view it anytime. Next is that we have the mega menus available, so you can create advanced drop-down menus with images, icons, and multiple columns, which is perfect for large stores with many categories. So you can click here on add new mega menu once you're here in mega menus. And now we'll be taken into another thing, just like the studio that we did earlier and with the slide. So let's just wait for that to load, and here we are on the templates again, but for this time this is for the mega menus. So you can choose which mega menus you would want to use on your website. Like for example, I would want to use this one. I'm going to click here on insert, and now we'll be prompted into the editing page once again once this is loaded. So let's just wait for a bit. Alright, here we are on the editor page, and from here you can now edit each category in here. Like for example, this one, I can just click on that, navigate on the left menu, and customize the text from here and some other options like the style, content, and advanced. Basically the same thing that we did earlier in Elementor, you can still use it right here. And that applies to the elements, all of the elements here in this mega menu. And now once you're done, you want to make sure that you click here on publish. And now to apply it into our website, we would need to go back into this settings in here in the builder. So Xstore builders. And then from here, we just need to go into the header builder because that is where we'll be putting the mega menu. I'm going to click here and go to builder and then Elementor. And now let's just wait for that to load. And once it's here, you can now click here and edit on the top right. And now once you're here is that you just basically would want to navigate here into the elements, and you just need to find the mega menu. And now in here, you just simply would want to drag it into where you want to put it. Let's say I want to put it here on the bottom of the header right here. So just like this one. And in here, you want to click on the mega menu, and then just need to go here into the edit mega menu and go into items. And here you can edit the menu item in here, like for example, all products. And then in here, you can go for the content type and just make sure that you select mega menu. And there it is. And now in here, you have some other options in here that you can customize. But basically, the mega menu should now be working just like this one, exactly as the template that we did earlier, just like this one right here. So you should now be able to see it on here as a mega menu, just like that. And that's basically it in how you can apply your mega menu here on your website. And now lastly is that we have the search analytics feature here in Xstore, which you can find here under performance and optimization. So this is also a new feature. You want to enable this just like this one right here. So what this would do is that this would track the visitors search on your site so that you would be able to understand your customer intent better and optimize product offerings based on that data. So as you can see right here, currently the search data is empty. So this is a new site, so we don't have any data yet. So it would take some time for them to collect the information, and you'd be able to see that information in here. So yeah, this is basically it for the Xstore theme tutorial. I hope this video has been very helpful to you. That's everything you need to know in order for you to start using this effectively. And also, again, you want to use the link in the description if you'd want to support our channel and get the best deals possible for Hostinger, for the Xstore theme if you want to get this, and also for Moz.com for SEO purposes. That's it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.